This year, the Rottnest Channel Swim Association celebrates 30 years of its iconic WA event. Boat turnbacks to continue for skippers with missing or out-of-date safety equipment. Crack down on misuse of race radio VHF 77 to ensure clear airwaves for emergencies.
This is 10 News First Perth.
Hello, I'm Narelda Jacobs.
And that makes me Tim Gossage.
Welcome to this special edition of 10 News First with the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim just weeks away. We're here to get you ready for the big day, and gosh, I couldn't stay away. I had to come back for the briefing.
Oh, it wouldn't be a briefing without you, Narelda. Absolutely spot on. Now, whether this is your first time or you're a veteran of 30 years like some of us, the following briefing will provide you with all the vital information for a safe and successful crossing to Rottnest.
The South32 Rottnest Channel Swim is a fun day out, but it also poses serious risks. The association works hard to mitigate these. However, it's up to you to be well prepared and well informed so you can make safe and sensible decisions. Thorough preparation means you and your crew can relax and have an extraordinary day out on the water.
All swimmers should be well conditioned for distance swimming and be well prepared for race day. Part of the preparation should be to practice race day situations so you're not surprised on event day if something doesn't work.
Before race day, it is a good idea to not only practice feeding whilst treading water, but also feeding during exercise and having some of the same food intended to eat on race day. It is also a good idea before race day to do a trial swim with your paddler and decide which is your preferred side for your paddler and boat to be on, depending on the weather conditions.
The most important item to practice for duos and teams is the process for the changeover of swimmers. Have you discussed as a group, including with your skipper and spotter, which swimmer will start? How frequently will you change over and in what order? Refer to the yearbook for the best practice on how this should occur. Remember, the most dangerous thing in the water is not what you think. When retrieving swimmers, take care and be proper wear.
If you're a skipper, make sure your boat complies with the Department of Transport's marine safety regulations. The boats must be licensed to carry all passengers, including those in the water. All support boats must carry required minimum safety equipment, including a working VHF radio and life jackets to accommodate your swimmers and paddlers. Vessels must have current registration, be properly insured, display the correct navigational lighting between sunset and sunrise, and the master of the vessel must hold a recreational skipper's ticket.
The Department of Transport and the Rottnest Channel Swim Association takes safety seriously. Equipment spot checks will be undertaken on event morning. During the 2019 event, marine officers turned back a number of boats for failing to have adequate or in-date safety equipment. So make sure you check those flares.
Should your boat be turned back, you will not be permitted to leave the beach and your swim will be over before it begins.
Preparation is essential and commences well before race day. The skipper and the boat are integral to the day and the role shouldn't be taken lightly, as no boat equals no swim. I perform a boat safety and equipment check at least 1 month prior and again the day before the swim. No one wants to be at risk on race day nor have to withdraw because the basics are overlooked. I always read my skipper protocols. They provide essential information for the day and what to do if things go wrong. I always read and pack my skipper protocols. They provide essential information for the day and what to do if things go wrong. I always meet the team well ahead of race day and go over the plan for the days before. Who is coming on the boat? Where are we launching from? Who is bringing the supplies? And an often overlooked plan. How are the swimmers going to get back to the boat at the end of the swim? On the day, they'll make sure that I have an SMS that has been acknowledged by all recipients. Race numbers are displayed, fuel and food and drinks, and the bung is in. And don't forget the wake-up alarm.
The yearbook is an essential resource for not only swimmers but also skippers and support crew. You should ensure that every member of your team has read the yearbook and understands your plan for race day. Your swimsuits will be checked and they must comply with the event rules. If your swimsuit doesn't comply or you're wearing multiple suits illegally, you can still swim. However, the swim won't be recognised by the association. Further to this, no watches are permitted to be worn during the event for pacing or otherwise. If you have any medical conditions, check in with your GP to make sure your condition is stable and you are fit to swim. If you take medication, make sure you have this when you're on event day. Let your team know what assistance may be required in the event of you becoming symptomatic.
I recommend getting a good night's sleep on the Thursday night in case you're restless the night before the event. Pack your bag on Friday morning, if not before, and check it again Friday night. If unsure what you need to take, download the swimmer checklist on the Roto Swim website. Have a team meeting and make sure everyone knows where they need to be and when. Also agree on who is doing what, so you can make sure everyone has what they need on race day, like fresh water, food, sun protection, seasick medication, spare goggles, swim cap, etc. Double, triple check your start time and set your alarm.
And now to event day. Whether you're a swimmer, skipper, paddler or support crew, it's important to know what your role is and have a plan. Skippers, as soon as you're on the water, make sure your marine radio is turned on and switch to the dedicated race channel, VHF Channel 77. Be sure to keep the volume up throughout the day.
In 2016, a duo and their skipper were disqualified because they reported to race officials who informed Channel Swim Base that they were unable to find their support boat. After 3 hours of trying to contact the boat and race officials looking for them, they were finally found, happily swimming to Rottnest. The team had found each other but failed to inform Channel Swim Base or any of the race officials and never responded to any communications. When asked why, the skipper explained that he had turned off the radio and turned up the music for the team to enjoy. Being a significant waste of critical resources and a major breach of our rules, the whole team was disqualified.
As skippers are responsible for the whole team, including swimmers, paddlers and crew, it's important Channel Swim Base and race officials can communicate with you, and equally, you need to be able to communicate with them. At the start line, support boats are to remain at least 1,000 metres from the shore. There are buoys set up on both the north and south side of the channel, which mark the boundary. Support boats can wait anywhere beyond that and cannot proceed toward the swim channel until the boat coordinator calls forward your swimmer's wave. This will happen via the race channel VHF 77. Swimmers should check in with their skipper on the morning of the event to make sure they're ready and getting into place. The starting swimmer needs to arrive at Cottesloe Beach at least 45 minutes before the start of their wave to sign on and pick up their timing strap if they've not already done so the day before. Neither swimmers nor paddlers can be delivered to the beach by boat, and it is highly recommended you get a lift as parking at Cottesloe on event morning can be difficult.
Before race day, you should have had a team meeting so your support group knows what time you start, which wave you're in, and agree on how you and your paddler are going to get to the start. In the morning of the race day, give your crew a phone call and make sure they're up and on their way. Check your start time and give yourself plenty of time to get ready and enjoy the morning without having to rush or risk forgetting to do something like putting on plenty of sunscreen, zinc and wool fat if you're using that. There are volunteers in place all along the main road to help you know where to go, and I would advise going straight to the registration tent to sign on and collect your timing strap. It's a great sight in the morning as the sun comes up and the Lewin and all the other boats in Rottnest Island start to appear in the light.
If I'm the starting swimmer, I make sure I'm at Cottesloe Beach ready to check in at least 45 minutes before our wave, so I've got time to get my strap and find my way to the start line enclosure. It's less stressful knowing you're there and waiting than getting there at the last minute. If I can, I also check in with my teammates who should be waiting in the support boat. I've learnt that make a plan.
Swimmers will then need to move into the start enclosure 10 minutes before the start of their wave. Paddlers may enter from the north or south and should enter the water 5 to 10 minutes before the start of their swimmer's wave. The hooter will sound and swimmers are off.
One of the most important pre-race discussions to have is what your meet plan will be on race morning. Your meet plan should cover off all the aspects of how the swimmer going off the beach is going to find the paddler and the boat, and are waiting for you on the north or south of the channel. Are you spotting them, or are they spotting you? What differentiates you from others? What is your ETA? Once you've agreed on a meet plan, make sure you stick to it come race morning. Remember, swimmers may only meet up with their paddler after the 500 metre yellow buoys, not before. Once the swimmer and paddler are united, the next step is finding the boat. Remember to have that meet plan locked down and stick to it.
You and your support team should make sure you have a meet plan for the day. In my experience, I usually agree to meet my paddler on the southern side at the end of the 500 metre buoys. I never go any further than this point until I've found my paddler. I then agree to meet my support boat on the southern side of the icon vessel. Try and give your support boat an estimate of when you expect to reach the icon vessel. Don't be too worried. The race officials will help you if you're having trouble locating your boat, but try to think of something to make it easy to spot each other.
There are literally hundreds of boats, paddlers and swimmers on race morning, so quick identification of your swimmer and paddler is important. The quicker I meet up, the sooner I can move out of the area of congestion. The key is to take it slow and easy in the pickup area. Keep calm, not moving all the time helps with spotting. I have discussed days beforehand what the pickup process will be. At what distance will the pickup occur? A strong lead swimmer means I don't need to pick up at exactly the 1 kilometre mark, which is where most will be congregating. Do I know how long it should take my swimmer to reach the 1 kilometre mark? I want to have something that makes the boat, swimmer and paddler stand out. Balloons are not allowed in the swim, so think creatively. Flags on boats, fluoro vests, sombreros for the paddler, etc. have all been used, but make sure they don't impede the swimmers or the paddlers. It is easier to spot the paddler than the swimmer. Have a clear plan for the swimmer to meet the paddler from the 500 mark and ensure those on the boat know what the paddle craft looks like and vice versa.
Boats will be able to enter the channel after the 1,000 metre red buoys, and swimmers will have from this mark until the 1,500 metre icon vessel, the Lewin sailing training ship, to unite with their boat. All swimmers must be accompanied by a support boat and cannot swim beyond 1,500 metres if unaccompanied. If a reasonable time has passed and you still cannot find your swimmer or support boat, the skipper should notify Channel Swim Base so that race officials can assist in locating them. Swimmers must tread water until their support boat arrives and may wait there for up to 20 minutes. There will be officials at the Lewin helping unite you with your vessel. If you haven't located your support boat by this time, you'll be taken back to Cottesloe and recorded as did not finish.
The last thing we want is to have swimmers stranded out at the icon vessel because skippers weren't prepared or a meet plan wasn't in place. Call your skipper in the morning to make sure they're ready and in place, and encourage them to check their boat is in full working order in the lead up to event day. In the past, we've had soloists that got to the icon vessel, couldn't locate their support boat, only to find out that their skipper had slept through his alarm. Unfortunately, without a support boat, that was the end of the day for that swimmer.
Remember, paddlers enter at 500 metres, boats enter at 1,000, and swimmers, you must locate your boat before 1,500 metres. Now, once everyone has united, the skipper has the absolute responsibility for everyone on the boat, as well as their swimmer and paddler. The skipper is in charge.
As a skipper, I'm responsible not only for my team, but also for being aware of others on the water around me. Swimmers always have the right of way. They're vulnerable and place total trust in all skippers on race day. I've seen incidents where boats have nearly run over swimmers and paddlers because they are trying to do too much by themselves or feel the need to always be next to their swimmer, even when it isn't safe to do so. For me, a spotter is essential on race day to provide a second set of eyes for the issues on the water and to always monitor for signs that the swimmer may not be doing okay. Has their stroke changed? Are they making sense on the rest breaks? Do they look hypothermic? Safety is a key, and myself as a skipper has a responsibility to make the hard decisions on my swimmer's safety. It could save a life.
Aside from hypothermia, swimming-induced pulmonary edema, or SIPE, presents a genuine risk for swimmers. It is a result of swimmers exerting themselves, lungs filling up with fluid and low oxygen levels, causing the body to eventually shut down. It is important your support crew know the signs and what to look for. You'll find this and more information on how to prevent, detect and treat hypothermia in the yearbook, as well as videos on the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim website. Preparation and awareness are critical. Don't be complacent and think it won't happen to you. Understanding the signs could save the life of you or a teammate.
After the support boat has met up with a swimmer and paddler, it's time to make your way to the island. There are two sets of buoys, one to mark the Rum Line, the most direct route to Thompson Bay, and one to mark the northern boundary. If using GPS coordinates to map the route, it's suggested you use the run line coordinates. The northern boundary markers are there simply as that, a boundary. This boundary marks the start of the rescue corridor and the ferry channel. Therefore, you must stay south of these buoys at all times. The rescue corridor is the area designated immediately north of the northern boundary buoys. If you require assistance, Channel Swim Base may direct you to the rescue corridor to help emergency crews find you quickly.
It's absolutely vital to our day on the water that we use the run line coordinates so our swimmers don't go off course and we add too much distance to their journey. We use the coordinates printed in the yearbook or the skipper's protocol provided in the race pack and enter them the day before. I know skippers that haven't used them and they've gone way off course. Needless to say, their swimmers aren't too happy.
For all boats within 1 kilometre of the run line, there is a speed limit of 6 knots, which must be adhered to. The fleet consists of boats big and small, and there are some key event rules. Larger support boats greater than 10 metres in length or a yacht of any size need to adhere to. These boats are required to stay to the north or south extremities of the fleet, subject to the northern boundary. They must also have a tender to minimise manoeuvring and deliver their swimmers to the run line. The skipper of this tender must also have their recreational skipper's ticket.
Some other on-water protocols you need to be aware of are: if a swimmer or someone in your boat becomes unwell and requires medical attention, for example, severe hypothermia, contact Swim Base and await further instructions. If necessary, we can get an on-water ambulance to you in minutes. If you have a swimmer or crew member who is unwell and is assessed as non-urgent, for example, they're seasick, it will be the skipper's responsibility to return to land. One of the most asked questions is, what happens if there's a shark? Well, if you see a shark, radio Channel Swim Base on VHF channel 77 and state the details of the sighting, approximate location on the swim course, and if you can, take note of your GPS coordinates. If you are unable to make radio contact, then contact the phone numbers provided on the skipper protocols. Channel Swim Base will then give further instructions. Channel Swim Base will deploy vessels and helicopters to investigate the sighting and report back to the fleet. If the sighting is of high risk, then skippers of vessels within a specified radius will be ordered to remove their swimmer from the water immediately. If there is a shark attack, the event will be abandoned.
Should the race committee believe swimmer safety is at risk due to a shark, we will implement an evacuation of swimmers from the water. This is not negotiable. Failure to comply will result in disqualification and a ban for you and your crew from future swims. Should you be evacuated, re-entry will be facilitated to the west of the evacuation area when it is deemed safe by the race committee. Race officials will lay 2 pink buoys to create a re-entry gate for evacuated swimmers, and this location will be communicated to all swimmers via radio and text message.
When using the radio on event day, your call sign is your race number. For example, race number 100. Ensure the volume is turned up during the entire event and be careful not to leave your microphone on. VHF 77 is for event use only and should not be used for friendly banter or otherwise, particularly during an emergency situation. Please keep use of the radio to a minimum and only if you require assistance for reporting something. If the radios are misused and the person is caught, strong sanctions will be enforced and the Department of Transport Marine alerted. Give way to ships at all times, including ferries. Ships shouldn't be moving through the channel on race day. However, if there are, skippers will be advised of shipping movements during the day via radio. Again, have that radio turned on and volume up. If you need to withdraw from the event, your skipper must inform Channel Swim Base via radio and timing straps must be returned. You can return these to the Fremantle Volunteer Sea Rescue Operations Centre located at Cantonment Hill or to the help desk at Rottnest. And this is how we account for swimmers, so please make sure you do this. The spectacle of the day is incredible and it can be tempting to send up your drone to take a photo. Don't. There are multiple event helicopters on race day and drones are banned across the course. Aside from your team being disqualified and facing possible fines, you put the lives of those there to protect you at risk with the results of a collision being catastrophic. Check out all this information in the yearbook and skipper's protocols. And don't forget to pack them for race day.
There are some key event rules you need to familiarise yourself with and adhere to. It's required that you reach the red marker buoys by the prescribed cut-off times found in your yearbook. They're set at the 10 kilometre, 15 kilometre, 18k, 19k and 19.25 kilometre marks.
Tandem solos need to be particularly conscious of their requirement to remain together throughout the entire event. This is a critical safety rule should an emergency incident transpire in either the fleet or to the swimmer. In 2019, 2 sets of tandem soloists were disqualified after it was found they had not swum together and were up to 1 kilometre away from their support boat.
One of the most important race-related rules, particularly for solos, pertains to non-assistance. Swimmers cannot touch anything or use anything that aids flotation. For solos, this means that when receiving food or fluids, you need to find ways not to touch your boat or paddler.
My support crew throw my food or fluids in a good plastic container or put on the end of a paddle. I practice this with them prior to race day so they know how it works. I also give them a schedule of when to give it to me. Solo swimmers, I recommend having an extra variety of drink on race day in case your tastes change after maybe consuming the same thing many times.
Changeovers for duos and teams need to be done at least 10 metres from the support boat, and swimmers must make contact above the water.
One of the biggest dangers to swimmers on event day is their own boat. It is imperative that engines are turned off or in neutral when conducting a swimmer changeover. The result of someone not following this rule is less than ideal.
During a changeover, make sure you're looking out for whether the propeller is on or off before hopping on the boat. Communication is key when it comes to changeovers. Every year we see the propeller photo during the briefing, and it's a massive reminder of how careful you need to be.
One of the most important rules of the event is support boats must not make way astern. This means they must not move backwards or reverse under any circumstances. If a skipper needs to stop or slow the vessel's forward way, they are permitted to use reverse thrust. However, the vessel must not make way astern.
As a skipper, sometimes you need to avoid swimmers or other boats in the water, particularly if it's poor weather. If I need to slow the vessel or stop it, I'll put it into reverse, but make sure I don't ever go backwards.
Drafting is not in the spirit of the event and is against race rules. Drafting is when a swimmer is following directly behind a paddlecraft, support boat or another swimmer. Skippers are not permitted to consume or be affected by alcohol during the event. Race officials, compliance and medical personnel are empowered to disqualify any entrant whose skipper breaches this rule. Follow all the rules and you'll be fine. We want everyone to be safe and to finish, so familiarise yourself with the event rules in the yearbook or online. The race official vessels will be clearly visible and race officials will be wearing yellow shirts. It's important for your own safety that you follow their instructions at all times. Race officials enforce race day rules and can ask a swimmer to leave the water if they breach these rules or miss a cut-off. In addition to race officials, medical and safety personnel are authorised to enforce event rules. This includes medical personnel advising a swimmer to pull out. A team or duo can proceed with the remaining swimmers or swimmer as the whole team is not required to cross the finish line. However, a solo directed to stop swimming has unfortunately finished their attempt. If the advice is ignored, the swimmer, team or duo will be disqualified. Medical staff will not make this call lightly, so please listen to their direction as it's for the welfare of the swimmer.
As you get closer to Rottnest Island, the fleet will start funnelling and it can become congested. All swimmers and paddlers must enter Thompson Bay through the 18-kilometre Phillip Rock Gate. Yachts, as well as powerboats that are 10 metres or greater, must leave their swimmer and paddler and proceed to their pre-arranged post-race location. Either a tender or paddler must accompany the swimmer for the next kilometre. Powerboats that are less than 10 metres may also leave at this point. However, the same conditions will apply. Swimmers must be accompanied by either a tender or paddler.
Once you arrive at Rottnest, switching from the north to the south side of the run line is very dangerous for swimmers still in the water. So remember, If your post-race destination is on the south side, you want to be on this side prior to 18 kilometres, and vice versa if your post-race destination is on the north side.
The finish channel can be stressful, so if you can leave the course early, do it. We make sure we're on the side we need to be on, at least by the 15-kilometre mark.
At the 19-kilometre no boats mark, all support boats must peel off and leave their swimmer or swimmers to finish the race. When support boats leave the race, either peel off to the north or south and stay there. Don't cross back over the swim channel. Similarly, be aware of navigational hazards such as Inner Kingston Reef. Paddlers will accompany their swimmers for a further 250 metres and will depart the south only at the 19.25 kilometre Rottnest Express buoys. Swimmers will then complete the final 400 metres, that's all, 400 metres, accompanied by surf lifesavers. Now this 400 metre is guided by a buoy line down either side. Swimmers should use the finishing arch on the shore as their sighting point and guide.
Before event day, you should also consider your post-event meet plan to reunite with your team on Rottnest. Please consider that paddlers can only leave to the south of the channel when creating your post-event meet plan. There is a designated area for paddlecraft located outside the pub. There's no time limit on this area, however, paddlecrafts must be removed by 5 p.m. The Rottnest Island Authority has allocated a competitor boat-only area just north of the fuel jetty. This will work on a first-in, first-served basis. You must have a South32 Rottnest Channel Swim boat sticker and a suitably sized boat to be able to anchor here. This area should be able to hold about 50 boats. Please do not anchor outside the marked area as it blocks emergency service vessel access.
I always make sure that my swimmer and paddler know where I'm going to be, otherwise they'll be left wandering around Rottnest in their budgies. Nobody wants that. We organise our post-event meet plan well in advance and use the T-jetty and the hotel jetty for quick drop-offs. If we are staying a little longer, we often head to the northern bays that are less congested.
Loading zones are available for pick-up and drop-off only. This includes the T-jetty on the main jetty, the hotel jetty and the army jetty. Thomson Bay will be very congested on the event day, and a short trip to Geordie or Longreach can provide you and your team with ample space to moor and relax. With regard to mooring use, you'll need to either be a licensee red sticker or authorised user yellow sticker issued by the RIA, and you can only moor your boat to moorings with a disc the same colour as the top left corner of your sticker. The aqua blue coloured Rottnest annual admission sticker does not authorise you to use a mooring. Green moorings are hire moorings and can be booked via the Rottnest Island website. Further to this, please do not raft up boats on moorings or tie multiple boats alongside each other. The Rottnest Island Authority Rangers will be patrolling to ensure safety and compliance, with fines applicable for incorrect mooring use. Other important information you need to be aware of is that there is no beach anchoring between the fuel and hotel jetties between 6 p.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Saturday. Tenders are only permitted in demarcated areas. There will be no fuel available from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the day. Unleaded and diesel fuel will be available after 5 p.m. This year, both swimmers and support crew do not need to pay admission fees. All boats displaying the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim race number sticker will have their fees waived by the Rottnest Island Authority in an acknowledgement of the incredible role support crews play in getting swimmers safely to Rottnest. Accommodation for event day is fully booked, and it is against the Rottnest Island Authority regulations to remain on the island without designated accommodation. And it's important not to forget general housekeeping. Be safe, be friendly and courteous. Plan ahead and respect and look after your island.
Swimmers will arrive at the beach, Yelty, south of the fuel jetty and make their way up and over the ramp. Once you're in the finish line enclosure, volunteers will remove your timing strap. Do not do this yourself. The volunteers are there to help. You'll be given a bottle of water and your finisher's medal before you make your way through to the South32 swimmer recovery area. If you aren't feeling well after the swim, please visit the medical tent located directly opposite the finish line. You then have the choice of exiting immediately, spending time in the South32 swimmer recovery area, or you can get your photo taken. Prize packs for solos and category prize winners are to be collected from the help desk and prize collection tent next to the dome. Duo and team prize winners will be sent text messages, and category prizes can be collected between 2 and 5 p.m. Now at 5 p.m, all solos need to return to the finish line for, wait for it, the annual soloist photo. Being in this photo is a well-earned badge of honour, so don't miss out. Then it's time to unwind.
It is an absolute amazing feeling when you get to the 19k mark and your boat has to leave you. The whole team gets excited and jumps in to finish together. There's honestly no better feeling than going over the ramp at the finish line and being able to celebrate together. It's just a fantastic feeling.
It is a great feeling when you see the finish line from Phillip Rock. You feel like you're so close, even though there's still 2 kilometres to go. But many of the various teams start to converge at this point, so it gets busier, and this really adds to the atmosphere. There is no greater feeling than swimming to the finish channel, getting out of the water, crossing that finish line and feeling proud of yourself and your crew.
Well, Narelda, that almost wraps up this special edition of 10 News First.
Thanks, Goss. But first, here's Michael Schultz with the weather.
For Saturday the 22nd of February, the weather will be perfect. No wind, water temperature of 24 and light cloud all day. Or it could be the complete opposite. Ultimately, you can't worry about the weather and you should just be prepared for any forecast. Regular weather forecasts will be provided on the event website, and you can check back with 10 News First a couple of days before the event, when we should be able to give you a better idea of what to expect. Weather's unpredictable, and the race committee will make their decision on the morning of the event if conditions are fine for the swim. If the weather's deemed unsuitable or conditions are likely to deteriorate, the event may be cancelled. This has only happened once in the past 29 events. Should the event be cancelled, please do not disregard the decision. The only reason the event would be cancelled is because it's unsafe to proceed. A text message will be sent between 4 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. to advise whether the event will proceed. This will be sent to the skipper and the team captain. The message will also be broadcast on the race channel VHF 77. Please note there'll be no refund if the event is cancelled, but entrants will be offered a guaranteed entry into the 2021 event. That's all on the weather front.
Thanks, Schultzy. There is a lot to think about when participating in the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim. As a skipper, swimmer or paddler, please take some time to read through the yearbook, as it has everything you need to know to help you prepare for this incredible event and get you to Wadgem up safely.
So from all of us at 10, we wish you a safe crossing, and I'll see you bright and early at Cottesloe.
And I'll see you on Rotto. Good luck.